Hi, this is Therapy Twins. Welcome to part 2 of online dating. I'm Jane.
And I'm Joan.
I hope you tuned in to part 1 where we talked about is online dating a choice for you with a few helpful hints. And today we're going to be talking about the actual getting out of your home and dating portion.
Ooh, that's scary. Go.
Before I start with my own experiences and some of the ones that we've both heard from others, usually the online dating starts with a wink, an email, maybe a couple texts, and then a phone call or two. If it drags out longer than that before there's a date, you could be sure that this person's probably not going to be exiting the building and dating you. That's a little red flag.
That's the online relationship that we were talking about?
Exactly.
That seemed so nice and easy and fun, yes.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to make a date for coffee or tea.
Why not dinner?
Well, you know, we all know within the first few minutes whether there's chemistry and whether we want this to continue. Dinner lasts a very long time when you're with someone that you're not interested in.
Wait. Sometimes you're initially attracted to somebody, and then other times you get to know the person, and then you become attracted to somebody.
Joan, you are so right. Remember, everyone who walks through that door is a yes, a no, or a maybe. And so you're going to date.
I've heard that.
You're going to date the maybe or the definitely yes. But there's always the definitely no, and that person is for somebody else.
So I would like to just say that in my day and age, Mommy taught us that you meet the person. You don't get into somebody's car that you don't know. Here I go again with the scary stuff. Craigslist serial killer did exist. You mentioned Ted Bundy. What a charmer. So I would meet the person somewhere. Is that what you would do on the first date?
Most definitely, and you meet in a public place.
Exactly. Yes, and where people know you.
Even better.
Yes. Do you recognize the people, Jane, when you get to the date place?
You know, 9 out of 10 times, most people are forthcoming. Their picture might not look exactly like them. It's only the rare few where they're 50 pounds heavier and 10 years older. And has that happened to me? Of course. And I look back on those times as fun, and you know, you learn something. And those people, actually, I stayed with those people to have a nice discussion about why I'm not dating a married man, because he came right out and told me he was a married man and had no interest in leaving his wife.
Huh.
But anyway, so you meet at
so honesty's important to you?
I like to date people who are currently single.
Gotcha. Okay, give me an example of one of the dates that you went on that maybe some ladies or men would like to know some red flags, maybe not to do on the first date.
One big one is don't talk only about yourself.
Or your ex-wife.
Oh, or your ex-wife or your ex-husband. Don't overdo talking about your children. Have a nice conversation, an equal conversation.
Oh, and don't interview like you have a checklist.
Yes.
I've heard that too.
Yes, interviewing is a turnoff. You know, but based on the little bits from the profile, you might have similar interests and you want to develop that. And that is so funny. I went on a date where the gentleman talked all about his ex-wife.
I know you did.
That was funny. So, like I said, it's lunch or a drink, because if you're going to go, I didn't mean that. It's a drink or coffee and tea, because lunch, dinner, even appetizers might be too long.
Now, Jane,
yes.
I'm used to, unfortunately, paying for anybody I've ever dated. And if somebody actually reaches in their pocket,
that is unfortunate, Joan.
I know it's a shock. It's a shocker for me, but my affirmations are turning that right around. What about who pays on the first date, or is that not a problem?
It's either split equally.
Excellent.
You know, going Dutch is fine. It's actually quite appropriate.
I wonder where the word Dutch came from, but yeah, we'll look into that.
Let's look into that. It's probably something Greek, yes. Or if the gentleman chooses and wants to pay, allow him to, because he wants to. I know I taught my son a first date, you pay.
Oh, I've heard that from some of my clients, that if the person doesn't pay on the first date, that's like a jinx. But I think that a lot of women today make plenty of money, and maybe the Dutch, I kind of prefer the Dutch.
If you prefer it, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
Totally fine. but just don't make it so close to the penny.
Oh, no, I
You
wouldn't
know.
itemize the check.
You know, $15 versus $16, that's okay. You don't have to pull out the quarters.
No. And then, is there a code word or phrase or sentence among people that are on Match, Plenty of Fish, OkCupid, if you know it's going nowhere, but you want to be polite about it?
Oh, yes, definitely. After the date, if you're completely sure that you don't want to date that person anymore, you do not have to do this, but it is very polite and appropriate to say, I had a really nice time, but I didn't feel the connection, and I wish you all the best in your search.
Oh. Well, I mean, I have one story of somebody else, and everything was going really well. She really had a great time. The initial connection was there, and then right before the meal was served, maybe that was her mistake, because you said just go for
Coffee or a drink.
right and not the meal. The guy took his retainers out, and that was the biggest turnoff for her, and it ruined everything for her. So guys, if you do have a retainer, or girls, maybe that should be left at home instead of being brought with you. Any other things you can think of? Just simple things that people don't even realize might be disgusting or gross for
Yes,
somebody.
don't chew with your mouth open.
Good one.
Silence the burp.
Yes.
If you need to pass gas, go to the restroom.
Excellent. Yep.
One more for, I know you, Joan, don't scrape your teeth on the fork, right?
Oh, yes. I really don't like that. I don't like that. But that's kind of, and don't slurp, but I slurp. So what happens if something like that comes out? Like if you gurgled or slurped, would you just say, excuse me? don't usually do that.
I actually like to laugh at myself.
Right. And then say that.
Oh, one thing that's truly important in online dating or any kind of dating is show at least 50% of yourself. So many people go into dating on their best behavior. That lasts
that's a killer.
how long?
That's a killer.
A month?
That can last like 30
6
days
months,
maybe.
6 minutes?
Yeah.
So be at least 50% of yourself. If you are
I think you'd be 70% of yourself, because so many couples that eventually get together end up hating some of the stuff that they were initially attracted to in the beginning, because that really wasn't even what the person was. This has been so helpful.
You know what? I'm actually 100% of myself, because
Good.
I really don't care anymore, and I don't mean it in a negative manner. I am 100% myself, and that's probably why there were a couple times I did not get that second date.
And then one more thing. We are divorced, but do you have any, do you have different advice for somebody who is divorced versus somebody who is out there looking for their first partner ever? Is there a difference, or you're going to give the same advice on the online dates? Divorce versus that.
Well, if someone has children and someone has never had children, or they're single and have never been married, it's actually hard to connect because there's a lack of understanding. So with anything, be interested, ask questions, do some reading on your own, ask your own, sister or brother who has children.
Do you have any advice besides what the comedian said on when to have intimate relations, Winnie the Pooh? The comedian said, how long does it take you before you get health insurance? 30 days to 3 months. Do you have any advice on that?
Well, if you asked me in my 30s, my advice might have been different.
What would your advice be in your 30s? Because there is an entire group of people out there, which is immense, in their 30s that do not know how to date. Go ahead.
I'm only going to answer with my personal opinion.
Of course. Who would ask for more than that, Jane?
In my opinion, if you are intimate too early in a relationship, it may not last as long. Why? Because you're so caught up on the intimacy that you're not becoming friends.
Nice. Okay, now the divorced person who's already in their 50s and has children in college.
Is this an intimacy question?
Yes.
My personal belief is I've seen, and you must have seen
Yep.
this in our own practice.
Yes.
There have been people who have been virgins, both virgins. There have been people that have slept together on the first date. There are people that have waited 3 months to a year. We've seen it all. Divorce in all cases, long-term
Yes.
relationships in all cases. So it's really individualized.
Is there one thing that you can think of from past relationships that you know the man is interested in you if he says or does what?
Asks me about me.
and listens.
Listens.
Truly listens.
Truly listens and remembers and brings that up at another time.
Pay attention.
Okay, thanks for tuning in. Hope it was helpful. We'll see you next time.
Any questions? therapytwins.com. And yeah, thanks for joining in.